James Reichert once said, higher prices are the symptom, not the cause of currency collapse. Keep this in mind as we discuss today the upcoming rolling of China's digital Yuan and how that's going to impact you. My name is Dr. David Oualaalou.
And my name is Dr. Ross Stewart.
And you are watching Geopolitics in Conflict.
Sincerely, we'd like to thank you for all the comments, for all the subscriptions, for all the ideas that you're sharing with us. We're getting so much feedback worldwide about we're providing something that people can really use to form their own opinions.
Well, that's correct, Russ. We couldn't thank you enough. As we grow this channel to reach a larger audience in order to bring awareness to the masses. So there are those who say, well, what's in it for me? Well, what's in it for you is the information that's going to help you make the right decisions for you, your family, and your financial well-being. So, thank you again. Let's get back to the topic here.
David, as you know, it doesn't matter what the industry is, China is a world leader in it. It doesn't matter whether it's technology, whether it's transportation, no matter what it is, China's really achieving. And one of the things that's going on is the digital yuan. What do you make of that?
Well, that's part of the big picture of these advancements of China. On the currency level, it's because the changes that's taking place now with the US dollar as it weakens on the global market. So usually the United States government's not going to disclose that, of course, but we want you to know that the value of the dollar is decreasing, and that will have serious consequences if you are not prepared. So in the case of China, deciding with this digital yuan is because they want to introduce that one as a system, financial system that is, for them to use instead of being under the dominance of the U.S. financial system.
You know, historically, China's been in the forefront of money. They had the first paper money more than 1,000 years ago. They were the economic center of the world, which most Europeans don't know about, but they were very powerful and innovative as can be. And now we're looking at the digital yuan.
So are they just reinventing themselves now?
No, what do you know?
Way?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. They're in the forefront.
That's correct. Well, there are seriously, on a serious note, there are some serious consequences geopolitically and economically when China's yuan, the digital yuan, comes to market. So
it's already arriving thanks to Iran, thanks to sanctions, thanks to Russia. And we're also looking at all the projects going on in Latin America.
That's correct.
Think they're going to use the dollar for that?
That's correct. And the way China wants to approach this is like just when you and I think about the transactions we do here in the United States, bank to bank. Well, usually there is somebody, the middleman as we call.
Right.
China's thinking about this one is to approach it person to person with no middleman. And that in itself wants to bring that system into the international market, which means basically, in a simple term, is that when a country A, China in this case, and country B conduct business transactions, it will be directly between the two. There is no middleman.
Right. And that means the U.S. will have little or no influence over that.
Not at all. Because as of today, there is what we call the SWIFT system. SWIFT system is by which all the transactions will have to convert through the dollar for them to move forward. So basically, the US dollar is the weapon that controls the financial system, a global one that is.
Well, allows sanctions to occur, for example. Yeah. And we're certainly seeing enough of those.
That's correct. And this is why the US currency on the global reserves has about between 60 to 90%. So you can see why it's dominant. So China is thinking in terms of how do we get rid of this altogether? And this is the approach they are moving forward towards achieving this objective by introducing this digital yuan.
And we know that internally in China, that is the primary way that business is conducted anyway. It's with your phone.
That's correct. There are those who argue that that gives the government more control, like in China, more control as far as where you spend your money. And well, it's the same thing for the United States will be the win once the Federal Reserve decides to launch the digital dollar.
Right.
The U.S. government is going to be controlling that anyway, basically because they will be determining how it's going to work with this digital thing. Is just it will be programmed.
Exactly.
It will have an expiration date, which means what? If you don't spend money by that
It's
day,
gone. They'll
it's
repossess
gone.
it.
They'll get it back. Yeah.
Right.
If you get a fine, guess what?
They just take it right out of your
Just take it
account.
right out of your account.
That's what's happening in China today.
Exactly. However, China's approach to this is from a much larger picture. It has to do with the business transactions.
Right.
Because, as you know, the BRI, the Belt and Road
Road
Initiative,
Initiative,
the European agreements on investments with China, the ASEAN, all this is an indication for why China wants to prepossession itself, that once everything moves forward, all those transactions will be done directly between China and those people.
You know, you might say one more sentence about ASEAN, because we're seeing the economic center of the world going to Asia, and ASEAN is an important organization.
Well, that's 30% of the world population. So if you are a CEO, you're going to be thinking in terms, I cannot ignore that market.
Exactly.
So, and this is where China will always play a major role because of two main factors. The two and only two.
Number one is?
Cheap labor, and number two is large market.
The internal market is enormous.
Yeah, it doesn't take genius to figure this out. That's what's the word I'm looking for? That's the principle of economics.
Right.
Cheap labor and greater markets will allow you to.
We know that the banking system is going to take a while for this to go through it and readjust. And the Chinese are looking at major introduction by the Winter Olympics of 2022.
Which means next year.
That's next year.
So you'll be noticing a big change coming down the pipe. So we want you, that's the reason why we did this video, because we want you to be aware and we want you to be informed as to what you need to do.
Well, there's one conclusion here that we'd really like you to know. As this occurs, you can expect the dollar to weaken and you can expect inflation. Inflation, inflation. So your standard of living might really drop as a direct result of this.
And you know what, if I may add, Ross, do you know why the standard of living didn't change in America? Thanks to whom? China. You know why? Because that's a reality we wanted to let you know. The reason why the standard of living in America didn't change much, because the cost of labor is cheap in China. And most subsidiaries from the United States are producing the products over there, bring them over here.
And so commodities are dramatically cheaper than they would be if they're made in the United States.
Well, this is about to change with inflation. Because if you notice, if you went to Walmart or you went to Home Depot or Lowe's, whatever, or Whole Foods, whatever, you notice the prices are going up.
This year, as much as 10% so far.
Wow. So, just for you to be prepared.
Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Also, be sure to check out our other videos. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.
And as always, stay informed. Till next time. Bye-bye.